Um, Hopefully you still remember about software. So what is software? These are computer programs, and what is the purpose of having these programs? Of course, all computer programs are created for the sole purpose of giving instructions to the hardware. Meaning, let's say for example, you want to play games, right? So you have to have software that can say to one of your expansion cards that, you know what, I want this to be displayed, right? And then the software must also be able to tell the sound card that, you know what, I want some sound to come out while I'm playing this game, right? So software does that. And software can be divided into two parts, which is system and application software. But before that, this is basically what is inside the computer, right? We can see that we have the hard disk drive here, and we have the DVD drive here. I'll just use DVD. It can be anything, CD or Blu-ray, right? But mostly people use DVD drive, and they are connected using data buses to the motherboard, which hosts everything else. For example, random access memory, right? And central processing unit, which does all the calculations. And then we have expansion cards, like video cards and sound cards. These are for the purpose of getting extra things from your computer. For example, if your expansion card is a graphics card, it's for getting nice graphics. If it's a sound card, on the other hand, it is for getting nice sounds. Excuse me. Right? So basically, all your software will reside inside your hard disk drive, right? Unless if you haven't installed it yet. If you haven't installed it yet, it will be somewhere else. It can be inside the DVD that hasn't been inside the DVD drive yet, or it can be online. But mostly, once you've installed the software, it will be inside your hard disk drive. And once you switch on your computer, this most important system software, which is called the operating system, will go from the hard disk drive to the RAM, and it stays there. All the software, any kinds of software that you're currently running, will be in RAM. This is to say that once you switch on your computer, your OS, operating system, will always be in RAM until you switch it off, right? But before we get there, we need to know the categories of software, which is system and application. Now, system software is inside our computer for the purpose of proper functioning of the computer, right? Proper functioning. Okay. And needless to say, it is divided into two parts. The first one being the OS, or operating system. Right? The second one being system utilities. OS is like, for example, Windows 7, Windows 8, Android, iOS. These are all operating systems. Utilities are, for example, device drivers, right? Backup software, antivirus software, compression like WinZip. These are all system software. Drivers, what are drivers? When you have a hardware, sometimes you have a new hardware, let's say a printer or something. You have a printer, not the best looking printer around, but you have a printer, and you connect it to your computer, to your main board. Now, your printer won't work immediately. It needs a set of instructions to the motherboard and CPU and everyone else, so that everyone else here will know that, hey, we have a new device connected to us, and this is how it works, right? So device drivers are something like that. Device drivers comes with devices and tell the whole system how this new device should work, right? So these are the two types of system software. And then we also have application software, which can also be divided into two parts. We have the packaged ones, general purpose, right, which we'll discuss further in the next chapter. And then business application, or tailor-made. Right? So general purpose is for the general population, like for example, anyone at all can use it. home users, office users, restaurants, lawyers, engineers, whoever. Tailor-made, on the other hand, has specific markets. Education, for example, uses e-learning. Engineering will use AutoCAD or Pro Engineering or something like that, right? Education or statisticians might use Excel or certain types of specified software, right? So these are tailor-made software, and it is part of the application software, which is for the for users to complete the task. Users to complete tasks, right? So you can see that it's very different. The priorities are different. Here is for proper functioning of computer, meaning it's not very desirable to have these software because it is just for the computer. It is Whereas these software are for us to surf the web, play games, do our assignments, and etc. For us to complete our tasks. It can be important tasks like your assignment, or less important tasks like playing games or stalking your Facebook friends, right? Anyway, our focus now will be on this, the operating system, right? And we'll look at the 5 basic functions of the operating system, right? We have 5 functions. The OS, like I said earlier, it goes from the hard disk drive to the RAM once you switch on your computer, right? And once inside the RAM, it is the center of the computer, right? So you have the OS, operating system, and it's the center, right? It is the star, right? And it does 5 different functions. The first one is, of course, it helps to start the computer. Start computer. So I'll just draw a line here, right, so that you know that this shouldn't mix up with the top part, right? So once you start the computer, right, you will need to manage all of these other software inside the hard disk drive, right? So the OS needs to manage application. Manage application. And if and when the user says, I want to open this application or play with that game or stalk that Facebook friend, right? So that application will be in RAM, right? So the OS needs to manage RAM as well. Right? Now this is with regards to management of everything. The OS will also need to provide some kind of communication channels for the user. The user needs to say something. I want to open something. I want to type something, right? So the OS has to provide a user interface. Right? And of course, after which handle input and output. Handle input and output signals. So the OS is the master controller of your computer. This is to say that for you to be able to run your computer the way that you usually do, imagine you running your computer, right? You switch on your computer, you want to click on this, you want to play that. So basically, if you want something, you just click on something, right? So you take that for granted. In reality, there is a system behind it that actually helps you to do these things. They provide a user interface. They give you icons and desktop and whatever. And when you click on something, they know that you want something to be launched and placed in RAM, right? And first and foremost, of course, they start